one day ago. This young man who didn't know the heights of the sky was climbing alone in the canyon. His hand was on the stone. Suddenly, he slipped. He fell down with the stone. Fortunately, it was not very high, and he was still alive. Unfortunately, his hand got stuck under a big rock. At this time, he had been trapped here for 24 hours. He took out the video recorder and told the camera who he was and where his parents were. He hoped that someone would find him after he died. His arm had not been bleeding for 24 hours. There was not much food left. There was only about 300 milliliters of water. Suddenly, there was a burst of dust above his head, and he thought someone was passing by. He shouted for help loudly. The scream was hoarse, but there was no response in the empty canyon. He looked at the ridiculous look of himself asking for help in the video camera. He told himself not to give up. It was night again. He was very weak. He picked up the few pieces of bread and ate them. He remembered the delicious food he had drunk at the party. He could only take out the remaining water and take a small sip. He thought of the warmth of home again. He spent another night half awake and half asleep like this. On the third day, his water was gone and he began to conserve his urine. In the morning, there is still that ray of sunshine. He found that his hard work these days was in vain because the knife could not dig the big stone at all. He realized that cutting off his arm was the only way to save himself. He tied a rope around his arm as a tourniquet and took out the knife he had used for 3 days. But the knife was already very blunt and could not cause any damage to his skin. He began to laugh at himself because this knife was a cheap one he bought online. He hated himself for being greedy for a small bargain. Now he had given up and fell asleep exhausted. He thought of his beloved Lisa. He dreamed that Lisa agreed to his pursuit. At this time, there was thunder in the sky and heavy rain fell. He stuck out his tongue to catch the water from heaven. Soon the water level rose and rushed into the canyon. The water instantly submerged him. The rising water made the stone buoyant. Finally, he pulled his hand out. The first thing he did when he ran out was to find Lisa. But when he got to the door, Lisa ignored him no matter how he spoke. He was even locked out. He woke with a cry. It turned out to be a dream, and he was still in this nightmare canyon.